Marriage is one of the biggest commitments you'll ever make.
Entrepreneurship is one of the hardest journeys you'll ever take.
And when you choose to build a business and raise a family at the same time,
you face challenges most marriages never have to navigate.
We know because we've lived it.
We've experienced seasons of misalignment, financial pressure, and moments where growth tested our connection.
Not because we lacked love, but because building something meaningful together requires conversations most couples aren't prepared for.
Welcome to Entrepremarriage. I'm Myka.
And I'm Mahogany.
This podcast exists to help couples build wealth
without losing the marriage.
Let's talk about it.
Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Entrepremarriage, where we talk about how to build the wealth without losing the marriage. Super excited to have y'all here for another episode tonight.
Let's go. It's been a busy couple of weeks. It's been a while since we recorded, so we definitely had to drop one for y'all. So what's been up, Mahogany?
Well, as y'all may know, in March I celebrated my birthday. So on March 13th, we had a little turn up. Your girl turned 34 years young, and I had an awesome time. My king here treated me extra special and things like that. Went to Oregon to go visit my family. As y'all know, that's where I'm from, where we're from, I guess you could say. So we had a great time, went out there with the family, just caught up and just really just enjoyed time. I took my little mini-me with me, Mackenzie, and she was able to travel with her mommy for a girls' trip. So that was awesome just to spend that time with her. Did miss the family while I was away, not going to lie. After maybe like the third day or so, I was just really missing my family unit. Myka and Mahogany stayed here but had work and school and things. So, yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, it's been a busy weekend, busy whole week. We finally dropped the kids off, so we have some time to ourselves. So that's good. It was different being away from each other because, you still have to go to work, school drop off, the business, and Mahogany worked on the business a little bit while she was away. But yeah, it was a fun week. We did miss y'all too because Malachi has chores and he was like, man, there's less dishes around here. I was like, really? But it was fun because it is always good to have like one-on-one time with each of our kids, like solo. So like, whenever I think this is like a second or third time leaving us by ourselves, I have him cook. We cook together, take trash out, stuff like that. We just kind of do it together and bond as much as we can. So it was a busy week though, because we had, speeches and stuff to give.
Yeah. So while I was out of town, y'all, I accidentally double booked myself. I booked my Oregon trip over a speaking engagement that we had with the stenographers, Black History Month program that they held. Y'all, I don't know about you guys, but my husband's always telling me, use your calendar. And I do use my calendar, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I like to just tell myself I will later or I'll remember. And so because of that, I wasn't able to speak at that event with Myka, but he held it down for us. He went and represented for our company and our businesses and just spoke about short-term, midterm rentals, something that you guys know real passionate about. He's extremely passionate about, so it was right up his lane. I'm glad I didn't send him to a speech about something else because I know you nailed it. So we did that. It's real important to, be able to pass the baton to your partner when needed. And I was so thankful that, you were still open to go and do it because you could have been like, well, no, if you're not going, then I'm not going. But sometimes we got to really divide and conquer in marriage and in business. Sometimes it's just like that. But super thankful that I had you as a backup / option.
Yeah, it was actually really good because calendar, that's another thing. I think the last episode we talked about communication and calendars. Man, it is important. But we got double booked, but I was able to hold it down. It was a little bit more because one thing about our relationships, Mahogany can if something's last minute, Mahogany can execute it like that. And I had to kind of put myself in that shoes because they sent us a bunch of stuff that we didn't know we were going to be doing. Like, hey, you're going to have a slideshow, all this. I'm like, oh, snap. So luckily while I was talking, other people had slides and I'm going after all these people. And I'm sitting there like, oh, dang. So, but luckily while I was talking, the lady pulled up our website. And so I kind of fed off that while I was up there talking. But it was really cool. Another cool thing is, which we talked about on the podcast before, is taking your kids with you. So I took my son with us. My son was with me. We had our Entrepremarriage shirts on, and I think it really helped him because he got to watch me get up there and give a speech. And one thing we also do is we always take him to like our Toastmasters because we aren't in right now, but we've been consistent with Toastmasters over the years. We've taken him there. We've making him get up, say, "Hey, what's your name? What? How old are you? What do you do?" Just getting him comfortable breaking out that shell because the next day he had a speech for his GT program. And I think that kind of gave him the confidence, like, oh, my dad can sit up there and do it. I can do it. So, yeah. So it was pretty fun. It was a fun little time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I surely had a good time in Oregon when all that was going down. Loved every minute of it. Then I came back to Dallas, and we celebrated my birthday together. So Myka and I, we really enjoy celebrating our birthdays together. We are like literally two peas in the pod when it comes to like having a good time. Like we just love to have a good time. So if you see us in those Dallas streets this weekend, if y'all saw us, I don't know.
Yeah, we are about business, but like we always say, we on our business 90% of the time. The 10% of the time we turn up, we kick it.
Oh yeah,
we got to enjoy it. We play hard, we work hard, play harder. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, something that came to my attention was, man, you and your husband like really like to have fun together. Like you guys really go out and have a good time. And I think that's a reason why our marriage, is like going so steady at this point, because throughout the years, like no matter what, we've always found time to get away together. I know that there's those parents out there who are like, oh no, I can't leave my kid for more than a day or two. Like, I get that, I guess. Like if that's, your flow, maybe you don't have a community or the right people who can look out for you so you can get away. But if you do have those people, man, it's so important to get away. It's nothing that's going to majorly change your marriage like right now. But over time, you will realize if you have not been getting that time away, it's going to show itself that you guys are not really friends, that you guys don't really like to hang out with each other. If I'm going to go on a trip, like my first person I'm going to think to go with is Myka. And then my friends or my grandma, like I'm going to think of him first though. Cause I'm just like, oh man, I know we're going to have fun. We can go do this. We're on the same page. So I think that's really special and something that we've been doing, for many, many years, like since the start of time. When our son was 10 months old, he spent a whole month in Oregon, with our families. And he was so young. And I know a lot of parents might be like, oh man, that's too young to have your kid away from you for a month. And it was hard, I'm not gonna lie. Like he got chicken pox and everything. It was like a whole thing. But during that time, Myka and I were out cruising, we're out seeing the world, we're enjoying each other. And there's a time to take your kids with you as well, but there's also a time just to be with you and your partner. And I think that's something that a lot of us miss, and something that wasn't really pressed to us. Like, I heard, make sure you guys keep dating. Okay, I get that. But the way I see it now is not only that you have to date, you have to actually like get away from the routine. I don't mean just go out on a picnic in the park and then come back home. I mean like get out of the city. We just did a staycation here in Dallas because it's such an awesome metroplex that we don't necessarily have to go like far out of town to enjoy ourselves. Like we can just get a hotel in downtown Dallas and like have the time of our lives. So that's a point I just wanted to make.
That is and that kind of went into our conversation earlier. We was before we left, we went and stopped and got something to eat. Shout out to Velvet Taco. Mahogany loves them. Yeah. They do have some good tacos though. We was in Deep Ellum and we stopped, got some tacos before we headed back down here to Arlington. And I was like eating, and I was like, I know this is a random thought, but I was like, I don't remember my parents dating. Like I don't remember them getting away intentionally. Like we'll tell our kids, hey, mommy and daddy going on a date. Y'all going to be here with your grandparents for X amount of time. And I don't remember that. And I was like, dang, I don't ever really remember that, So I think that's very important because one of the things we talked about in the previous episode, all we are providing for our future ourselves is usually comes from the trauma that we were presented as kids. So, us wanting to make our relationship work is from seeing the stuff that we seen our parents didn't do. So yeah, I definitely think being intentional and getting away is important because we will go get a hotel in Frisco, go turn up at World Springs, whatever we got to do to get away. And that's very important. And speaking of like family, our last podcast episode got the most views. So shout out to everybody that watched it.
Thank you.
The bonus episode. And I actually got people calling me, and we got a lot of like DMs and a lot of comments on the stuff that we were saying. We were talking about like, I think a lot of people took it as, I did say don't do business with family. My whole thing is don't let your family be your decision maker when it comes to business. And the reason why I said that is because I wasn't raised in a situation where I've seen people were able to build wealth, but as soon as they got to a point where they could build it and be sustainable, they let a family decision dictate their business. Instead of building up the business, now you can give back to the family either through knowledge for those that are capable and want to learn, or, just give back through like in a charity way to family to those that aren't capable. And what you do is if you start making everything based upon the family, you become stagnant is what I'm saying. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, there's family businesses. I'm like, if you look up most of these family businesses that you're talking about the generation after. The build-up generation was the generation we're in, is the build-up generation. They had to build it up themselves and then set up things to pass it down to their family. Like setting up executors and trusts and things. And then like, hey, you get this. Like a good example is that it's Power, right? Remember when he told Tariq, to get all this money, you got to go to college and graduate. And then he even had it in the trust where if you ever go to jail, he went to jail and he had that letter. Dude delivered the letter to him. And he said, yeah, I knew you'd end up here. And I ain't going to say he said verbatim, but he's basically saying, yeah, I knew you was going to end up here. And but those are things that you have to put in place to build a family and like a family business. You build in generational wealth, but you have to put things in place to get there. You can't let your family dictate those decisions. But y'all keep letting us know what y'all think in the comments, because we got a lot of interesting feedback. I have phone calls and texts about that. So that was really cool. So I'm happy it's making an impact with y'all. As we talk about building wealth without losing the marriage, one thing we've learned is that growth doesn't happen in isolation. It requires the right environment and the right people around you.
That's one of the reasons we decided to join Springboard to Wealth. It's a real estate investing community focused on mindset, strategy, and taking real action, not just talking about it.
Being a part of Springboard helped us think more clearly, move more intentionally, and stay disciplined in how we approach investing.
And for us, that matters, because when you're married and building, the decisions you make financially affect more than just you.
If real estate investing is something you've been considering and you want to be around serious, growth-minded investors, we encourage you to check it out.
You can find the link in the show notes to learn more about Springboard to Wealth and see if it's a good fit for you. We hope to see you there. Enjoy the rest of the show.
I agree with that. I like how you said that we're in the build-up generation, because a lot of the businesses that are family businesses, a lot of their stories are they split and end up having two different chains. Like this brother has this one and this brother has this one, or this and this. And even with couples, sometimes it's like that. Like there's a burger joint in Austin that was a couple at one point and they divorced and now they have like two different chains. I can't think of the name, but if you guys know the name, put it in the comments, because if you're from Austin, I actually represent Houston-Tillotson University. I went to school in Austin. And yeah, so there's a restaurant out there that's like two separate chains because a couple divorced, or, a lot of in my city, where I grew up in Oregon, like they split in two different, chains, because it doesn't always work out, and it's not supposed to always work out. Of course, you have those stories, and you might have some very good stories of family businesses that succeed, but it comes with a lot of emotional turmoil. I think it takes you through the ringer more than if it's just like a business partner, not a family member.
Yeah. Like me and you, we a family, and we building it together. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have this platform, right? It's like, how do you build it together and keep it, keep this together, right? Keep the marriage. And it takes a lot of work, but you have to, and I'm gonna be real, you have to protect the marriage, our kids first, protect that first. And then you build it up together. One thing we have we're in a real estate group, and I noticed with a lot of the African American couples, even in the show you're watching, shout out to Blue Therapy on Netflix, we've been watching that together. I noticed there's a couple couples, they're trying to build up this business, but they want a wife, but they don't want to give the wife the attention. And I was like, I think that's a way to stay single for a long time, which I think a lot of Americans, we've chose that. I think America has chose, let me just be single, and then subconsciously think, I can just go back and get a wife. I'm like, I don't think that's really feasible because you've already built this lifestyle solo. And I remember I was talking to a dude from Springboard. I think he was Indian. And he said something I had never heard. He was like, yeah, American culture, they teach you to get it by yourself. He goes, in our culture, they teach you to build the family first and then let the business build off that. I was like, yo, that's so real. Like, that's why it can be passed down and things of that nature, because you build and you focus it on the family structure and then having the business be a part of that. And I think that's where we fail a lot of the times.
Yeah, within our real estate group, Springboard, there's a Filipino lady in there, and she's a newer member. And I know she was just talking recently about her and her husband have built up the capital throughout the years through their employment, not investors, but now their kids are growing in college, like living in Japan and stuff. And they're like, going with them while also growing a business. So I think that's like, goes back to your point. They focused on the family unit. Now everyone's grown and now they're going to, go make those moves. And not saying you have to wait until your kids are grown to make those moves, but it will be a lot trickier, doing it when they're young, of course. But I think that's a beautiful thing and a beautiful point to make, for sure.
Me too. Because, I think that's what a lot of people get confused. And I think that's the beauty of this podcast, because we're showing like, yo, you just have to stay on the same page and do it. You know what I'm saying? Be willing to do it. And then also with like mixing, like earlier, I told you I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he was chopping it up to me. He was like, I want to bend your ear. I want to see if I'm tripping, right? And I was like, what's going on? He was like, he told me about a situation he had with the realtor, but his realtor was one of his good friends. So he was like, man, he's just not doing what I kind of wanted him to do. He's like, it's almost like we're arguing with this dude, right? And I talked about, like, I'm going to be real, even hiring friends to do stuff for you, it can get tricky, because now I feel like I'm obligated to you because you're my friend, you're my boy. But then it's like, if you're not looking out for my best interests, it's hard. And one of the things I talked about at the speech that I gave was, because it was a realtor situation. I said, there's an issue with realtors right now because most of them are looking for first-time home buyers, and they don't really understand the investor process. And one of the things that was there was one of the other panelists who was there for real estate. First thing she said, she said, I'm a realtor, but I'm also an investor. So she said, I look out for my clients. I said, that's the type of person you want to be on your team. And the problem was with his friend is he was afraid to make certain negotiations because he's like, I don't want to offend the seller, and when it comes to that, I've ran into realtors like that, but when now it's your friend, you got to kind of like, dang, bro, I need you to do this because I'm trying to get here. So even doing business with friends, it could take a toll as well, especially friends you look at as family. So just kind of, be aware of that when you decide to make that decision, because it's sometimes easier to not use your friend because it can strain a relationship that you probably want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is. But, yeah, we've used friends for business. So we try to always use our friends. But at the same time, people always preach, yeah, your friends should support you. Your friends should support you. But at the same time, it can cause a strain when you're doing business with people. So always keep that in mind.
Yeah. Very interesting point. I know, in the real estate Facebook groups of realtors and stuff, I know a lot of women end up mad because like their friends go to other people instead of them. Like, I'm a realtor. Why wouldn't you come to me? You're buying a $500,000 home and you didn't use me. I get that, but I also get why maybe they didn't. So I get both sides.
Yeah, and see, in this situation is my friend, he's looking at it from an investor long-term play standpoint. And I'm gonna be real, and I'm not about to knock all the realtors because I know people saying the whole thing on threads is realtors are getting bullied online. Uh-oh. I do think some of them are, but there is some realtors who just don't understand investing. And when they don't understand it, it's hard for them to step into an investor's world and know what I'm looking for and what I'm looking at. So with that being said, it's times that like me personally, first thing I always ask a realtor is, how many houses have you sold? How many do you own? Are you an investor? If they're an investor, I can work with you because you know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for what you're looking for. Some cash flow, some equity, appreciation, etc. I ain't got to explain all that. So yeah, sometimes people ain't, going with their friends. Now I will say it's okay to go with your friend if you're just looking to buy your first home, But even that can be a little tricky because I don't want them to get you in a bad deal, and that does happen. But
then you're mad at your friend.
Yeah, now you're mad at your friend. Oh, you didn't told me to buy this house, So I get it. I get both sides of it, but always just look to be understanding. I think that's what it comes down to, especially in business. You have to be understanding.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna just back up to the previous conversation just about building a business versus building a relationship and doing both at the same time.
Yeah.
We were watching Love is Blind. Shout out to Love is Blind on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
We're fans, I be in the groups trolling and stuff sometimes. But would y'all like feel offended if your partner that you're dating asked for a prenup? Like, I know it's a case-by-case situation, but I don't know. That's another point of like building something with somebody versus you build it and then you go find your mate. And then, so what are your thoughts on that?
Oof, my thought is this. That it goes exactly what I just said. Like when you building something and you build it solo, it's going to be hard to get that piece away to somebody. Like, and then if somebody, like, because I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Devontae asked the Brittany girl, I think he asked her for a prenup.
Talking about
Devo, yeah. She asked, dude said, like, a prenup. Now, from his perspective and the stuff that he had built up, I understood his point of view. And even from the other girl, because she had her own stuff. Like, I was shocked that she was like, I don't really know. I'm like, if I was her dad, I'd be like, hell yeah, get a prenup because you've already built up. You got your business in your basement. I would have told her that. But I think that comes back to what we always talk about, financial literacy. Like, you got to understand that stuff. But for me, like, if we both coming into a marriage with stuff, I would say get a prenup. I don't see nothing wrong with it. But if neither one of y'all got nothing, you just saying something you done heard on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, if y'all just, you like, bro, come on now. You don't own that. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. But like us, like, we ain't getting no prenup, but I do check certain things. Like, we knew each other's credit scores, ambitions, things of that nature, but I understand, the prenup situation. If you built up something by yourself,
yeah,
and now, you know what I'm saying, somebody can come take half, and now they got baby nups out there. So
I heard that.
Yeah, the baby nups thing where
baby
you
nups.
can decide how the baby gonna live and all that. I'm like, dang, bro, they getting into it out here in America.
Wow,
but
it's deep.
Yeah, it's getting deep out here. But, I understand the prenup thing, but it just depends on what you come in with. Like, if you ain't coming in with nothing like no hard assets, and y'all gonna build it from the ground up, yeah. Like, if let's say, God forbid, I don't ever want nothing to happen between me and Mahogany, but like, if me and Mahogany were to split or something, and she take half, I take half, I can't be mad at that. We built most of this together. Like, we built the business, the houses, all that together. So I'm not really mad at it, So you have to know where you coming in from.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. But let us know what y'all think in the comments about that. I find that a very interesting.
What's your perspective? Yeah.
Part of me feels like I'd be a little salty. But I guess, like you said, it depends on what they're coming in with. Because part of me might take it like, so what are you trying to say? You think I'm just here for your money? Type stuff. But at the same time, like, it depends on what they're coming in with and what I'm coming in with. And if it's not the worst thing,
That's one of them uncomfortable conversations that we talk about. In order to get somewhere in marriage, you got to have some uncomfortable conversations. That's like, I remember one conversation we had, and it was just a scenario setting. And
Mahogany, you're talking about.
Yeah,
I thought about this today. That's crazy you're bringing that up.
Mahogany got mad. She was like, "Are you serious?" I said, "Would you be mad if I asked for a paternity test?" She said, "I'd be offended." And so, but it's one of them uncomfortable conversations. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people, and we had this conversation like years ago before our first one was even born. And, it was one of them uncomfortable conversations. And I was like, if we was to break it down from a fairness standpoint, a woman, let's say a woman doesn't know who the baby daddy is, whatever, but a man never really truly knows because he's just the man, you know what I'm saying? But I know how it will come off to like a girl, oh, you calling me this, you saying I'm out in the streets. It's the same kind of prenup situation, It's an uncomfortable conversation, but I see it from both sides.
Boy, I wish somebody would. If I was married and my husband asked me for a paternity test after our child's born, like, unless something's crazy and off, like this baby has blue eyes and like blonde curly hair, and it's like, well, hold up,
I get it though.
I don't know, you guys. That another conversation we used to bring up before we had kids was if a random kid came into our lives that was like Myka's kid from the past, like that he didn't know about, that I didn't know about. Like if a baby just popped up, like, and it's a 7-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid, like I always said, I don't think I'd be able to accept that kid as my kid, or I don't know. I hate to sound so cringe, you guys, honestly, because I hate any kid to grow up without a father, but I don't know if I'd be able to do it, even if it was before me.
But you make me go get a paternity test, wouldn't you?
Well, what the hell?
I knew it, but I just said I know you would. Because I would too. Like, hold up. Yeah. No.
I don't know. That's just a little tidbit I like to throw in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's just, it's not like a woman's going to be able to have this random kid show up at their door. Like, because you know if you've given birth to a kid, it's your kid.
Yeah.
But on the men's side, they could have made mistakes in the past, or, slipped up and the woman never told them about the baby, and they pop up asking for some money off something might have been building. Honey, you and your kid better move around.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's fact.
Or you can go with them. No, I was kidding. Kinda.
That's yeah, but this is a good conversation though. But those are uncomfortable conversations, so you gotta have them, man. You gotta have them. So yeah, let us know what y'all think. About the prenups, the extra babies coming in, and paternity
business,
tests,
family,
business and family. Because I'm happy we got a lot of good feedback on that, and I'm happy I got a lot of good opinions. We really value the comments and stuff. So y'all remember to like, subscribe, definitely leave the comments, because the comments always get us rolling. So yeah, thank y'all for that.
Yeah, well, until next time, y'all, you know where to find us.
Yeah, find us Instagram, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, subscribe to us on YouTube, and thank y'all for continuing to listen to us. We hope we're providing some value to you, and be on the lookout. We got some big stuff coming, webinars, so I'll be paying attention.
All right.
If this conversation resonated with you and you want to go deeper,
join us inside the Entrepremarriage Inner Circle on Patreon. You'll find the link in the show notes. And while you're here,
make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future episodes.
You can also join our Entrepremarriage Facebook community. The link is in the description to keep the conversation going between episodes.
Thanks for watching.
Until next time,
keep building wealth
without losing the marriage.